Hey, everybody. This is Ben with Empire's Comics here in Sacramento, California. And tonight we're starting something new. We've done a lot of interviews with creators that you guys have seen before. But tonight we are actually going to be talking to someone who is working on a Kickstarter as we speak, something you can go check out, something you can support. And it is called The Baboon. And thank you very much, Jamie Jones, for coming on and talking to us.
Hey, thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's always good to talk about pulp action comics. That's my jam. So,
well, then let's jump right into it, because I want to talk about some of your previous works. I want to talk a little bit about what got you going. But since we're here to talk about The Baboon, which is currently going on, I think you have 15 days left on it, but you've already successfully funded it and now doing stretch goals. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a big surprise. I went to sleep last night and I woke up this morning and boom, there it was. So it's been a crazy 2 weeks.
Then why don't you tell us a little bit about The Baboon? Because when I was watching your Kickstarter video and then reading the synopsis, you're clearly very passionate about this particular kind of genre.
Yeah, The Baboon. I was reading Terry and the Pirates, and I had the idea of wanting to do an action adventure comic strip, and The Spirit is my all-time favorite comic. I love it so much, and it just seemed like that was what was missing in not only comics but entertainment kind of completely, was pulp action adventure stories for families, not just a little kid or an adult. I think the big thing with that's missing in comics and entertainment in general is family fun action adventure stuff. Indiana Jones, Johnny Quest, that stuff's missing now, and The Baboon was kind of my response to it.
And you've said you've made a point of making this it's not for kids, it's not for adults, it's not going to be graphic or in any way. It is something that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, I say that with all the conviction in my heart that is my intent for it. If people think otherwise, then they think otherwise. But yeah, that is the intent. It is supposed to be Johnny Quest. The violence never gets over original Samurai Jack. So when I was a kid, I'm a child of the 90s, Samurai Jack came on Cartoon Block, and it was the last show before Toonami hit. And I don't remember what the exact time slot was, but it was like prime cartoons. And Samurai Jack was the thing that separated Toonami, which was clearly for the high schoolers, and for me, who was 8 and loved Samurai Jack. So it was the thing we shared.
That is fair. So, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about what The Baboon is?
So The Baboon is an action adventure pulp story in full pulp 40s 50s style. I feel like a lot of times when we talk about pulp, it tends to skew towards noir, and that is not what I'm doing. That's kind of far from what I'm doing. This is bright colors, action adventure, wish fulfillment type comics. Think Batman and Robin back in the day, Batman and Robin, and Johnny Quest is a big one. Even Indiana Jones, you've got Short Round there hanging out with Indy, and that's really the thing. It's the wholesome Technicolor pulpy adventure comic that you forgot you were missing. It's what should be there.
You're doing on Kickstarter. You're not just coming out with an issue. I mean, we're doing like that 60-page hardcover.
Yeah, Tintin comes out, and Tintin came out in 64 pages, 60 pages comics. It's a big European mark, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing it as a hardcover. I have such a strong feeling towards like Asterix and Ublik and Tintin and Lucky Luke. Those comics came out first as hardcovers. They come out in like 60-page chunks, and that's kind of my inspiration behind it. I also think with 60 pages, you are able to tell the complete story. So we have a 60-page complete story one adventure. It's one and done. I have plans for more, but you will never have to read them in any order. It's just this one is called The Mustelid Menace, and the next one is called The Wild Man, and the next one from there and there, more.
Have you already
like
started working on Wild Man?
Yes. Yeah. Wild Man is plotted out. It's close to being like figured out. The third one I have like loosely ideaed what I want to happen, and some beats that I want to hit. So
Well, I got a chance to read. You sent me a preview so we could look at, or I could look at a few things, and I got a chance to read it. What you sent me, which obviously leaves me wanting more. But the artwork is beautiful. The story was a lot of fun. We just leapt right into it. He's got a great cast of characters. I really like what's his name, Monkey Bones.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to see much from him.
I know. Monkey Bones has kind of become the. He's our audience. He's our viewer. So he becomes more and more important as it goes on. The book was written originally as a webcomic strip, and so the first few pages of it feel a little different than what we get towards at the end of it. But when Monkey Bones comes in, and that whole dynamic shifted. He was a not a later addition to the characters, but a later addition to how important his role plays. The focus is
so
about
everybody, his whole crew from Mel to Brick and all of those, they get their time to shine in these 60 pages.
Oh yeah. Yes. Mel for like. Yeah, Mel's my favorite. I love her so much.
Well, I liked her personality right off the bat, because when they're making all these important decisions, she's like, "I'm just the pilot."
Yeah, it's she's great. I love her so much. A really, really fun character to draw.
So now, like we said, you've made your goal already. So anybody who wants to go over and check it out, you're guaranteed to get your Baboon. But what are you planning as far as stretch goals to give people incentive to keep coming?
More comics. That is my main thing. I actually just had a backer ask, what are the digital supporters going to also get my stretch goals? And yes, because I'm just doing more comics, so the first stretch goal is at 7,000, and it's going to be a 10-page short story Baboon comic with all new self-contained stories. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Spirit, and the Spirit came out in little 7-page supplements that they put into the newspaper, and I really want to do that. So the next story is, I think, going to be called The Vampire of Venice, and it's featuring the Baboon and an all-new character named Lorenzo Colt, which I'm so excited. I love that name. An Italian occultist type guy. And yeah, so every stretch goal is just going to be more short comics going forward.
That's awesome. And on the goals that are still available, do we still have some of the original art ones available, or are those all gone?
Yes, I think I have two of the like fully painted commissions. Two of those are left, and then everything else with the bust commissions down to head sketches those are all. I'm just doing a bunch of those, so I'm taking the next few months just to do commissions.
Nice. That will take quite a bit of time, actually.
Oh, I know.
So now, is art is this your job? Art?
Yes.
Or
Yeah. Okay. Comics is my job. The thing that has kind of pushed back the production of the Baboon has been me doing other comics in between doing my passion project comic.
And this one is 100% you.
This one is 100% me. Yes, it's written, drawn, colored, lettered, loosely edited, and designed. But I'm gonna get a good designer to really send the bells and whistles on it. So
Sweet. And but as you said, this is not your only project. You've had a couple other successful Kickstarters. It was what, Joey, Big in Japan?
Joey Ryan, Big in Japan. Yes, I was the artist on that one for Cheeto Comics. That was their first. That was their first comic, and I'm friends with the publisher, so he was like, "Hey, you want to do this comic?" And I said yes, knowing nothing about Joey Ryan and nothing about wrestling at the time. And the writer Trace Dean is one of my best friends, a guy who I've collaborated on a bunch of little indie comics with. He is a huge wrestling fan, so I contacted him. I was like, "Have you ever heard of this Joey Ryan guy?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, let's do his comic." So we did, and it came out, and that was a successful Kickstarter. I think we ended up printing like 3,000 copies of the book. It was pretty great.
Okay, and there was also the one that actually looked like was it? I went on my Diamond website just to see if it was available. Was the Kicking Ice? Is that available in any way?
I think it is. I know you can get it on Amazon. That was kickstarted with through Ominous Press with Stephanie Phillips. Stephanie Phillips, who is like killing it right now. She hasn't have a lot of books out, but she has a lot of books cooking with some major publishers, which I know all about because she's one of my best friends. But
nice.
I can't spoil that for her. But yes, so that book got funded. I was brought on late. I think the book was already funded through Kickstarter. The original artist was supposed to be Lee Moder, who I'm a huge fan of from Legion of Superheroes. I'm a huge Legion of Superheroes fan. And
nice.
For one thing or another, he wasn't able to do the book, and Stephanie contacted me and was like, "Hey, I have this hockey book." Another topic I knew nothing about when I started the book.
And was she passionate about it?
Oh, she is like one of the biggest hockey fans I have ever met. She's great. And she knew everything. So if I ever had a question, I would just go to her and she would tell me. I watch hockey all the time. I live in St. Pete, which is very close to Tampa. So we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'm able to watch a lot of hockey games. I am now very, very well versed in hockey. And Kicking Ice was great. Got funded. I think you can get it on Amazon. I'm not sure about Diamond distribution, but
it
I'm sure we can
unfortunately
figure out
was
a way to
not
get some
there,
books.
so
Oh yeah, okay.
yes. So there's ways out, or there's got to be ways out there. I'll have to check out Amazon because it looked like it would fit perfect. Is it a young adult book?
Yes. Oh yeah. It's a young adult book. It is a all ages girl power hockey book. It's super fun.
All right. Well, I'll definitely go over to Amazon and take a peek. But that's not all that you've done. You've got a couple other things. You have something called The Whisper. And is that only available through your Patreon?
Yes. So The Whisper, you did your research. This is awesome. The Whisper is my anthology book that I do with a bunch of friends, writer friends, Vida Ayala, Frank Barberi, Trace Dean, some guys who have some credits, but it is a pulp story character, but every writer writes a different a different person under the mask. It's my play on legacy characters, and I draw the book in different styles depending on what the script calls for. It is the most daunting task to, like, right now I'm working on a Carmine Infantino style book, and the next one is a Bernie Wrightson style book, and just going through and kind of retroactively dissecting their work to make something look like theirs. It's a poor man's version of it, but it's but it's a really fun project that I hope to have like over 200 pages done by the time it's complete and finished.
And then we can bind all those together and eventually put them out in a hardcover, maybe.
Yeah, that's the plan. The first wave, which is the first 6 issues, there are copies of. I printed off a bunch of copies, and you can, if you ever see me at a show, that's how you get them. But it's a really fun project. it's my way to study other artists without just for no reason. Like it's me actually making comics, more comics. That's my whole thing. Is just I'll produce a lot of comics, get more comics out, and the more comics I have, the better. So
No, most definitely, and it's a nice little reward for the people who are supporting you on Patreon to have something that they can't just get off of this Kickstarter or something. It's something special for them.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, you. Oh, go ahead.
No, Patreon's really cool, and I like it a lot. And having something that is specifically there, I should update on Patreon more. It just takes me so long to do like these 8-page comics, just because I'm like trying to figure out styles is pretty difficult. So
that's understandable. Plus, you've been working on getting the Baboon for a while.
Yes,
and now you're going to have all these commissions that you're going to be sitting and doing for weeks on weeks.
True.
So one more before we go back to the Kickstarter, was something called Dodger.
Oh yeah,
that one looked really interesting. Was that was only a digital comic book?
It was a small print comic that I did with Trace Dean, the writer of the Joey Ryan book. That was my first comic I ever did. We did 5 issues of it, and it was the thing that got us the Joey Ryan gig. It's been the thing that's like when I was starting off just 4 or 5 years ago, it was the thing that I would show to submission editors going forward. But we did 5 issues. We have been talking about doing one more issue and collecting it all and doing a Kickstarter for the collected 6 issues. There was just a small print run. We would print them off for Heroes Con primarily. That's the show that we met at in Charlotte, and that's the show that we always have like a little Dodger comic for. So
okay, well, there is plenty for people to go look at. You guys make sure you check out these other ones. Check out Patreon. Check out the Kickstarter, which is active now, 15 days to go. The Baboon, you can't miss it. Is there anything you want them to know about the Baboon before we wrap this up?
Man, I have found that I made this for my dad, and something that we would have liked when I was a kid and we were watching those old cartoons. So if you're a dad and you have a kid and you want to read a comic with them, or he reads the comic or you read the comic, this is kind of the perfect thing. I think it's the go home and talk about the book and share it with your kid. I think that's the best thing for the Baboon is.
That's awesome. That is cool. So, well, then everyone go check it out. But I'm going to get one more thing from you here real quick before I go. There's a lot of people who want to do exactly what you're doing, who maybe it feels daunting, it feels a little intimidating. Is there one piece of advice that stands out more to your success that you might be able to share with them?
Oh yeah. Make the thing you want to make and do it. Just actually do it. Dodger was something that we actually wanted to make, and we sat down and made it. Start small. Start doing a 5-page story and figure that out, and go forward from there. Because 5 pages and 5 pages and 5 pages and 5 pages is a 20-page comic. So you can then publish that and show that around. I think it's just do it. Don't talk about doing it. Do it.
That's fair. Even if it seems daunting, just get in. I like the 5-page approach because you can do 5 pages, and then that 5 pages becomes 6, 7, 8, and then, like you said, eventually there's a comic book.
Yeah,
so
that's how the Baboon was started. It was, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 pages, and it ended up being 60 pages. So that's
sweet, and you're already going forward on the next one. So this is good. Well, everybody, don't wait 15 days to go do this. Go over and take a peek now. There's a nice little video, nice and short and sweet. It's only a couple minutes where he'll tell you all about it. And then there's some images, some character descriptions. Check out the Baboon, and thank you all for watching. And Jamie, thank you for joining us tonight. I know it's a little later over where you're at than here for me, but I do appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck on the continued success of this Kickstarter.
Thank you so much.
You got it. I'm looking forward to see this thing finished up. And then if I am at any, do you ever come to the West Coast for cons?
I have yet to, but I would love to.
All right, well, I'll keep my eyes open because I don't make it to the East Coast for cons. So if I see that you're going to be at a show, I will come by and say hi and check out everything you've got.
Awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you. The Baboon, we've said it enough, but one last time, go check out the Kickstarter, see what he's got to offer, get yourself an original sketch and a hardcover 60-page book coming soon. Thank you very much and have a great night all.